Okay. I'm actually going to make the video I wanted to make to begin with. I started making this video and it ended up going into something totally else. So it is what it is. This one's going to be a little different, but it's going to tie into the video that came right before this. If you watched it, I mean, you don't have to have watched it to understand what I'm going to talk about here. But they kind of tie together. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about is Agora Station. We've talked about Agora Station a bit in the past. I try to push you guys to go on Agora Station Classic slash Agora dot station dot money. I'll get you the exact address in a second. I try to push you to go on it and kind of read what's going on, because Agora Station is where all of these proposals that end up on Terra Station, or whether they're on Rebel Station or whatever stations come down the road right now, whenever we're going to go vote on them, usually Agora Station is where they go first. And, they can be there a week, they can be there longer, being fine-tuned and worked on. People make their comments, they make their suggestions, and then the authors, take this stuff into account. Sometimes things are changed or fine-tuned, right? And so if you want to have an understanding of the things that are hitting Terra Station for your vote, you can get the jump on them by going to Agora Station. I've also talked about how I feel like it's a great thing that so many community members are really taking the time and putting in the effort to try and come up with ideas to push this chain forward, and to help in the recovery efforts, and obviously everybody has a stake in it. I mean, we're all holding our bags and would all like to see it get to certain levels or whatever, and so people have ideas, and that's a good thing when you have a community that is involved, to a degree. Okay. And why I'm saying that is this. Let me bring something up and show you something. Is that what I want to look for? It is. Okay. So this is Agora Station, and yes, it's classic slash agora.terra.money, right? I said it wrong earlier. That's fine. Anyway, so this is Agora, and these are, since my last visit, these are the proposals that have been talked about, commented on, or whatever, right? So you'll see this line here that says last visit. My last visit was, maybe an hour ago, right? There's a lot of activity on Agora. And if you look at some of these, you can see that, let me see if I can get to it. Anyway, you see how many views they've had. See 3 new updated topics. Okay, so there were 3 others that didn't even have here yet, right? So you can see how many views each individual one has had, is the middle column, and then to the left you've got the replies and activity. The last time it had activity over on the right. So what I tend to do, you've got to find a way to weed through these, right? And what I tend to do is I look at the ones with the most views, and then I look at the amount of replies, right? And if you see something has, I'm just throwing numbers out there. I'm not pointing to any one of these. If you see something has 600 views and it has 25 replies, right? Or 15 replies, you know that a lot of people have looked at that proposal and didn't even think enough about it to even want to reply to it or make a comment on it or whatever, right? So it's probably not this is my opinion. This is how I do it, right? I'm not suggesting this is how you should do it. But to me, it's probably not one I'm going to click on, because a lot of people looked at it, didn't even really comment on it. It probably doesn't have anything to it that's going to interest me yet, or maybe it still needs some development, right? That's how I go about it. But it's not a totally accurate way to do it, because, I mean, I put a proposal on here myself. I don't even know if it was like a month ago or whatever it was. I'm horrible with timelines, but and going by my own rule of thumb, it got seen a lot and comparatively didn't get a lot of replies. Does that mean that it sucked? Maybe it does, right? I still think it was pretty good. There was a lot, and I just put it there to gauge kind of sentiment. And it did have some ideas that I thought were pretty good, and some ideas that some other people reached out to me and thought were pretty good. So it's not my method isn't a totally accurate way to do it. You may have some proposals here that are diamonds, that because it's being put out by someone that nobody knows and the name on it isn't recognizable, maybe a lot of people don't look at it, or it's maybe if you got into it, the ideas would be great, but it's not formatted correctly, and diehards are going to be like, oh, well, it doesn't have this or that, so they skip it. There's a lot of different reasons, right? But here's what I really want to point out. So I don't know if you can see my my progress bar over on the right? That kind of goes up and down. I know my picture's in that bottom right-hand corner, but it's pretty big right now, right? So it makes it look like there's not a lot of proposals here. But if we scroll down, and I'll scroll down to the bottom, that progress bar gets smaller and smaller, right? So I'm going to go back to the top and then just do this a little more slowly, because I want you to see how many proposals there are here. And this dates, this dates back, now we're going back to November 7th or whatever. So even in the last 30 days, right? Look at how many proposals not necessarily have been written, but have been commented on or replied to or whatever, right? A crap ton of them. So even though I say that it's a great thing that the community takes enough interest and takes the time to try to put forward some ideas, right? And are trying to get involved and trying to help. At some point, it becomes overwhelming for a lot of the community who might come here to just kind of read these things and try to stay up on what's going on. It's like, where do I even start? How do I know which one of these? And it's a very small percentage of things that are on Agora that actually make it to like Terra Station to be voted on. So how do you know, as just a regular community member who's trying to stay informed, how do you know which one of these things to read, or what you're wasting your time with? Or it's overwhelming. It's like going into a restaurant and their menu is 5 pages long. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's so much here, I don't even know what to try, right? So we need, this is my opinion, we need to have a way to filter through these proposals and kind of weed through the ones that might have some really good things in them. Maybe the overall proposal isn't necessarily doable, but it has some really good ideas in it. Some of the proposals that are just way out in left field and make absolutely no sense, and I'm sorry, there are some like that, right? The whole spectrum, right? We need a way to weed through and pick out those diamonds, put certain things together. There has to be a method for doing that. Now, if you or I were to try to do that, we could make a full-time job out of doing that, because these proposals come in and then they're commented on, and even though you'll read it and it seems to make sense and sounds good, somebody will make a comment and you're like, oh crap, I didn't think of that, So you really could spend your week going through, sifting through, making notes, doing whatever on what you think is good, what you think is helpful, what you don't think is helpful. It is a full-time job, right? That no one actually has right now. So, I'm all for the decentralization thing. I get it. I'm all for the community run. I get it, right? And I'm all for it. But there is a problem that can occur in that if you read through a lot of these proposals, a lot of them are on total opposite ends of the spectrum as far as how we should proceed, right? And everybody has their own idea. And a lot of people who have their own ideas think that their ideas are the best ideas. Not only is not only is my idea the best idea, but your idea is the exact opposite of mine, and it's stupid. Right? And that's really what it kind of degrades into. And we end up butting heads, and so now everybody's breaking into factions. You've got some proposals that are being put forth by some well-known people, and they already have their followers, so everything that they say is gold, right? Everything they say is gold. Even if really, if we had a crystal ball, we could tell the future. We don't, right? But even if what they're proposing is kind of crap and would never work, their followers, because they love them and they die hard, they believe everything that they say, right? So they're going to push those narratives. And then you've got the other group or the other faction over here who is saying something totally different, and all of their followers are going to back them up, right? And this is where we start getting this divide, because we don't know which way to go. As I said, we don't have a crystal ball. Everybody thinks they know, but there's no way to absolutely know, right? So what do? Well, let's just try something, right? So we'll try something. So we try it. For instance, 1.2% burn tax, right? We tried it. Didn't try it very long, but we fought like crazy to be able to establish the governance and the validators and the ability to be able to vote so that we could vote this 1.2% tax in, because it was going to save all of our woes, even though a lot of people were saying it ain't going to do crap, right? We voted it in. We went through a lot to make sure that we could get that vote and vote it in. And it wasn't even there very long. Next thing you know, you've got a loud group saying, well, look at the volume, okay? This is what your 1.2% burn tax did to the volume. Nobody wants to trade anymore because, the tax is too high. So, okay, let's keep a tax, but let's reduce it to 0.2%. And once we do that, the volume's going to come right back. So what happened? Voted on it. We did it because the voices were loud and told us it would work. So we did it. And did the volume come back? No. Right? No. So, so far, it's about the equivalent of, putting a bunch of papers or solutions on the wall and then closing your eyes and throwing a dart, right? That's about the equivalent of what's going on so far. And that's kind of the same situation with any one of these proposals. We might try one just to say, we got to try something. We have to try something. We try it. And then, if within 3 or 4 weeks, maybe shorter, it's not doing what it was professed to do, that other group who was against it anyway, they're going to get loud and they're going to say, see, we told you. So we're going to put our proposal up now, and now everybody's going to vote for that. Well, I guess they're right. No, it didn't work, so let's vote for this. We're going around in circles. We're not getting anywhere. We're spinning our wheels, right? So again, in my opinion, what's already been happening and what's going to happen is that people, if we don't have a path, if we don't have a clear path, if we don't have a clear structure, a clear set of goals and a way to get there, people are going to just get confused and say, this really isn't even worth it. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing, right? So I'm out of here. And people that are already here are going to leave. We've kind of already seen it happen just with this confusion about Terra Station, Rebel Station, right? Nobody was even, a lot of people, shall I say, were not willing to sit back and wait and let things iron out because it's their money that's on the line. So they're like, oh, nope, I'm out of here. That's it, I'm out, right? A lot of people undelegated. There was a lot of panicking that went on, probably unnecessarily, but human nature, you can't fight, right? So, a lot of people will end up leaving if we continue with this circle that isn't going anywhere, right? Potential investors that might look at Terra Classic and look at Luna and say, hey, them guys are still alive. Let's look, should I invest over there? If they were to take a hard look and saw how we enacted this, then we changed it to that, and we did this, and we did. If they were to look at all this going on, they'd be like, oof, nope. Let them get it together first. And if they do, then I'll come in, right? You got those people that are like, they'll probably get it together. Let me buy it while it's cheap, right? But not a lot of people are going to do that, especially big money. Big money isn't going to do that. So we need a clear path, right? Let me give you another example of what I'm talking about, and then we'll get to my actual point, right? So this is, where is it? Let me see. What did I do? Governance, yes. Oh, this is Terra. I'm on the wrong one. All right. Do I have this on? Let me see. Give me a minute. Let's go here. Okay, here we go. So, Terra Classic. This proposal 10983 passed today. And this was a parameter proposal, not even a text proposal. This one already had the coding and everything in it, in other words, so that if it passes, it's being enacted. There's nothing else that needs to be done other than the code needs to be implemented, right? So, this is about a parameter change, increase reward policy rate minimum to 0.5. And this is about basically this will allow 50% of all burn transactions in a given epoch to be minted into the community pool, right? So this takes basically away from some of the burns or what's being taken from the burns and is being used to replenish the community pool. Now, I was in a room, a Terra Rebel Discord room earlier, and they were all cheering and hooting and hollering because this was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. This is exactly what they wanted to happen. They were all very, very happy that it passed, right? I can tell you that I can probably very easily find another Discord room or Telegram room or whatever that is the exact opposite. That are thinking that everyone that passes is a bunch of boneheads because this is going to screw everything up, right? There's always that. And to clearly show that, right, all we have to do is look down at the legend here, right? These were the votes. This passed with 48% of the vote. Almost 9% of the vote abstained. 1% was a no with veto. But if you just want to go the yes and no, 48%, 42%, right? If these abstained could have gone either way. If they went, if all those that abstained went no, this wouldn't have passed. If they went yes, this would have passed with a much larger margin. But it didn't happen. It passed with a very small margin from what as far as I'm concerned, that's a small margin. I've seen some that have blown it out of the water and really passed definitively, right? But what this tells me is that we're going to enact this because it is a parameter proposal, right? But you've got a whole bunch of people, right? Almost half of who voted that are just waiting for this thing not to do what it was said, what was said it was going to do, right? Just waiting for a little chink in the armor to say, see, we told you, so let's get rid of that and let's do this. And they're going to put another proposal up. And if they can sell it and be loud enough, right, they're going to get everyone who voted yes for this, just like everyone who voted yes for the 1.2%, right, to say, yeah, I guess you're right, it didn't work, let's try this other thing, right? And there's the circle, okay? There's the circle. What's the solution? All I can give you is my opinion. It's my channel, so that's what I'm going to do. And this isn't anything new because I've actually said it before, right? And I know a lot of people disagree with me. I think we need leadership. Leadership. We need a group in charge, out front, sifting through all this stuff and steering this ship, okay? This experiment of decentralization, of putting it totally in the community's hands, and everything that's done comes up for a vote, right? Comes up with a proposal for vote. How long are we going to do this before we start realizing we're not getting anywhere? We're spinning our wheels. We're not going anywhere. How long is it going to be before those diehards that say no, decentralization, we can't, no, we want nobody in charge? How long is it going to be before you say, all right, yeah, okay, I guess we're not really moving. We're not getting anywhere. Maybe we need something else. I think it's long past time to start that conversation and start it in an earnest way. Now, there was a lot of proposals that came out regarding kind of putting a team in place. Some of them were dismissed out of hand just because of who they came from, right? But, if people are being honest about it, and a lot of people have been honest about it, there were actually some really good things in some of those proposals, right? But I want to talk about Ed's last proposal, and Ed and I we did a live chat that went much longer, I think, than was comfortable for Ed, right? I think it was over 2 hours. It might have been close to 2.5 hours that we were chatting about this proposal of his. And this was regarding kind of the multi-sig wallet, the 4.16 million, was it? From what I hear now, it's down to like 2 million or whatever, right? And the proposal was about putting a team in place of multi-sig signers, because that's supposedly how this thing would be released to us. Putting a team of multi-sig signers in place to get that money, not necessarily be in control of it, but to get it and to hold it in a wallet, I guess, and then use the proposal system to figure out what to do with it and to move forward, right? But we would have a team in place of professionals who represented every aspect of blockchain knowledge and development, and coders and developers and whatever else you need. I don't know what you need, otherwise I would put the team together myself. But people that everybody would trust, right? And the thing about Ed's was that we would elect these people. They could put themselves up to be voted on, and we would elect them ourselves, okay? Well, through the conversation, we kind of found that maybe wasn't going to work either, because first off, nobody wanted the position because it included this multi-sig wallet, and everyone who even thought about whether they might want to be a signer or not, everyone who sought legal advice, they were all told the same thing: stay away from it. Stay away from it, because we have no idea what kind of legal liabilities or problems can come along with that money. Even if the money itself doesn't have any real major liabilities, what about all the potential legal issues that are coming up for Do Kwon and TFL or whatever that, this money could potentially be tied to, right? There were just too many pitfalls and nobody wanted to do it, okay? So that's one of the reasons that kind of backed off of that proposal. Well, I'm thinking about it like this, right? What if we totally got rid of that part of the proposal and didn't worry about this multi-sig wallet at all? In fact, I've said before, I think we should stay the hell away from it anyway, right? It's down to 2 million now. It's not like having $2 million worth of, Ethereum or whatever. It wouldn't be beneficial. Of course it would, right? But the potential hazards and pitfalls that come along with it, I say we stay away from it, right? So if we do that and we took that part out of the proposal, there's still a lot of good things in the proposal, right? You've still got a team, again, of professionals in their fields who are able to, steer a path, right? Steer a path. Sift through all of the noise on Agora Station, right? All the different things that, all the different options or whatever, right? All the different things that are before the community to decide on. Well, what if we had a team who was paid, who this was their full-time job, right? To go through these things, pull out the good parts because they would know, because they are professionals that we trust, right? And elected to put in these positions, to pull out the good parts and wrap them up for us and present them to us and say, these are the good things that have come up and these are the good ideas that are before us right now. Let's vote on these things, right? Cut out all the static, all the noise, cut through it and get to the good stuff. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, yeah, but absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And absolutely, that is potentially true. So sticking with the decentralization and sticking with the power still staying with the community, obviously there would have to be a mechanism in place in which we have the ability to vote any one of these people out if they're not doing the right thing, okay? There are ways to do it, is what I'm saying, okay? But if we had that group, again, they could sift through this. They could focus our attention on the important things, on the things that could potentially work. Let us vote on them and move us forward, okay? Instead of moving us in this circle that we've been moving in, all right? That's, there's a lot more to it, right? But that's basically my idea. My idea, again, in a nutshell, we can't keep going in a circle. If we had a group of people we trusted to actually form a path for us, it would be better. People that looked in would say, hey, they've kind of got it together. They've got a goal, they've got a path, they've got a leadership team that is blazing a trail forward, right? I think it would look much, much better. Now, the previous video that I did was about the fact that we may end up with this interchange station from TFL. We may end up with Rebel Station from TR, and we may end up still having Terra Station out there, right? Because Terra Vita seems to want to be taking part in keeping that going, right? And it seems like they're taking steps to do that, if I'm understanding what I heard earlier in a Twitter space, right? But that's okay, because if you have this team is focusing on the path forward, okay? If you've got all these other teams, because all the code and everything is open source, it doesn't matter how many teams are out there working on it. You can still have them out there working on it, but working on implementing what we as a community have decided with the guidance of this team that we elected, that we trust, and keep us moving forward. It can all work together, right? But we've got to be brave enough to have this conversation and to admit to ourselves, maybe, that this 100% decentralized, keeping everything up for vote, and that's the way we're going to get there. We haven't done it so far, and I don't see anything that's showing that that's going to change. There are some good proposals that are coming up, right? Some really good proposals that are coming up. And maybe we'll vote for them. But there's always that other faction that says, no, we like our idea better. So as soon as something goes wrong, we're going to get loud and let everybody know. We're going to put up another proposal. And what if everybody votes for that? We just took a step backwards, didn't we? I don't know. My opinion, right? So if you agree with me, disagree with me, if you have any comments at all, leave them in the comment section. Let's talk about this. If we start this conversation here, that's fine. But let's take this conversation to Twitter. Let's take it to the Discords. Let's take it to the Telegram rooms. Let's take it to Agora. Let's take it everywhere. If anybody understands or believes in what I'm saying, if this makes any sense to anybody at all, let me know, right? If it makes absolutely no sense, let me know that too, and I'll shut up, right? I probably won't shut up. But anyway, I don't know. That's where I'm at. So let me know what you think about it in the comment section, and that's about it for now. I'm going to let you guys go. And where am I going right now? I got to get back to this right here. Okay. All right, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Ciao.